We will start our biology class from the first lesson, the living world. Is derived from a Greek word. Bios means life and logia means study of. So biology is the study of living organism. And as we know, life can be defined as the property or the quality of the living organism which will distinguish you from a dead or a non-living object. So all the living organisms are having certain unique characters. What are the characters? They are growth, metabolism, response to stimuli and reproduction. It is an important characteristic feature of living organism. By the process of growth, the organism increases in mass and also in number. So you may ask me, living organism is also growing, no miss? But actually speaking, they can grow only by accumulation of material on the surface. But here growth is different. In a living organism, growth takes place due to some internal process which is called as cell division. Plants show continuous growth throughout their lifespan, while animals show growth up to certain age. As you people know, no, as a child you will grow faster, but your parents, if you see, they are remaining as such for a long period of time. So growth is there only up to certain age. By this process, every living organism produces their offspring. So this reproduction is a process by which an organism can continue their lineage of species. That means that they can increase their number after generation after generation. This is a very unique character, and the reproduction takes place in two methods: sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Normally, very lower organism, they adopt asexual reproduction. Higher organism, they adopt sexual method of reproduction. So that examples are given like that here. Fungi reproduces by asexual. Yeast and hydra is again an asexual method called budding. Planaria by regeneration. Unicellular organism like bacteria, algae, amoeba, everything, they reproduce by asexual methods of reproduction, which is the very low type of organism. So they go for asexual method of reproduction. Next concept is metabolism. All living organisms are made up of chemicals belonging to various classes, sizes and function. So the chemicals that are present in the organisms, they are constantly made inside the body and they are changed into some other biomolecules, and these sum total of making a new molecule from an existing one and rearrangement of the molecules is what is called as metabolism. And metabolism is of two types: anabolism and catabolism. No non-living objects exhibit this property called metabolism. Next is response to external stimuli. Living organisms respond to their surrounding or environment. We can see, in our garden, if you see some garden lizard or some other flies and all, if you give some disturbance, immediately they will respond. Either they fly away or they move out of the place. So this is some example for how the living organism respond to their surrounding. Like that, respond to this environmental stimuli, as I told you, it can be of under three categories. One is a physical response, then a chemical response and a biological response. So For example, we can say that you take the case of a plant. When you pour water, or you can see where you can see the plant moving towards sunlight, etc. So this is a response to the external stimuli. Even one example you might have studied in lower classes. If you are keeping a potted plant inside a dark box and you are keeping a small hole, isn't it? So after some time you can see that the plant is bending towards the hole. Why? Only through the hole the plant gets the sunlight. So this is an example for external stimuli. Like that, even the organisms, they can sense and respond to the environmental happenings, environmental stimuli. They can smell it, and or they can understand the vibrations in an environment, and accordingly they can move away. Then the photo period affects reproduction in seasonal breeders, both plants and animals. This photo period means how long the plant is exposed to sunlight. So accordingly, the flowering time is changed. For some plants need a long photoperiod to flower. Some other plants need a lesser photoperiod. So that depends upon the plant. Same way, even animals. Some animals, they will go to the rocks. They go and sleep under the rocks and they lay the eggs. So like that, they don't want to exposed to the sunlight when they are reproducing. So these are some examples for the external stimuli. Like that organism, they handle chemicals entering into their bodies and aware of their surroundings. So that also you can feel, no, if you touch a acid bottle, you can feel that it is an acid bottle. So like that you can feel, you can understand the chemical around you, and you can act accordingly. And human being are the highly developed living organism, and they have self-conscious. So animals, they only react to it, but they won't understand what it is. But human being, they will react to it, and they will keep all these reactions in their memory. So next time when they come across such a situation, they can act very cleverly. So this is called self-consciousness. They can understand, oh, if I go this way, it is wrong. I have to go that way. This type of a response is there only in human beings. Next concept is diversity in the living world. So everyone who is having an eye can appreciate nature, no? We can see, if you step out of your house, stand in the open and just observe how many different types of plants you can see. The shapes of the leaves, the height, the nature of the plant. Some are trees, some are shrubs, some are climbers, and the colors and designs of the flowers. Same way, you see the animals. Just take the case of a small butterfly. How much of varieties you can see there. Beautiful colored butterflies, isn't it? So these variations in the color, structure, size, and designs of the organisms, it forms a biodiversity. So to learn about these various animals and plants as such is very difficult, isn't it? See, you're all joining the school, and for example, if you have 700 students in the school, and if we put all the 700 in one classroom, how it will be? Will it be possible for you people to know others? It is very difficult, and your age is different. One first standard 5-year-old child will behave differently from you. Can we put both of them together and teach the same concept for both? It is not possible. So that's why what we are doing in the classroom, we are dividing you people according to your age, and you are putting LKG, UKG, or first standard, second standard, like that. In the same way, this diverse living organism in the world, it's not possible to study them together. So what we are doing is, we are classifying them. First we are trying to name them, and according to the characters we are going to classify them and study them. So nomenclature is the term that is used for naming the organism. And normally, if you go to, if you are in Chennai, you will call certain plants by one name. If you go to Kerala, the same plant will be called in another name. Same is the case, no? Just take the case of fish. Here we call a particular variety of fish by one name. Take Vanjaram, you call it as the Vajram here. If you go to Kerala, they will call it as Ikora. In this way, same species is having different names, and these names are called local names. The names are given by the local people and it is called local name or vernacular name. So it is not possible for a person to remember the names of organisms in all the different languages. So we have to follow a uniform method of naming the organism. Thus comes the uniform nomenclature. So for that, what we did is, first you will identify the plant. If already the same type of plant is having some name, you will try to give the existing name. That is one method. Second method, they formed an organization called International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, ICBN. This is only for plants. Same way, for naming the animals, they formulated an organization called International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. So these two bodies, the main work is to give recognized universal names to plants and animals. The mostly accepted system of naming the plants and animal is by giving two names. Each and every plant will have two names, and this system of giving a plant or an animal the two names is what is called binomial nomenclature. That is, the two names means the name will have two components. The first part of the name is a generic name and the second part is called the specific name or species name. Generic name and species name. And the person behind the formulation of the binomial nomenclature is Carolus Linnaeus. So whenever you learn the founder or any scientist, it is very important to write their names in the correct spelling. So please be careful, see the spelling and learn it properly. Carolus Linnaeus. He invented the modern system of binomial nomenclature. So the ICBN and ICZN, they have formulated certain rules for naming the plants and animals. They are called rules for nomenclature. And what are the rules? The first thing is, biological names are usually written in Latin language. And when you write, to show that it is a biological name, you have to print it in italics. What is italics? Slightly slanting. Okay. Next is, scientific name usually contain two parts. The first part is the genus name and the second word is the species name or the specific epithet. The another third rule, which is very important, whenever you write the two name, you should take the care to write the genus name. The first letter of the genus name must be always in capital, while the species name need not to be in capital. It can be written in small letters. And when you print, as I told you earlier, it should be printed in italics. And if you are writing it, it's better you have to underline the names separately. Genus name separately and specific name separately. Some examples are given here. Mangifera indica is the botanical name of mango. And here you see the first word, the Mangifera. That is the genus name. See the second word here, indica. That is the species name. And the whole thing, Mangifera indica, is printed in italics. Same way, if you take the case in a zoology, that is Homo sapien, animal, human being. There again, Homo, the genus name of human being, sapien is the species name of human being. So Homo sapiens. So this way some few examples are given there. In all the example, it's your duty to find out which is the genus name and which is the species name. Okay, and how it has to be written. If you are writing with your hands, it has to be underlined individually. So the first thing what we have seen is identification by giving a name to the organism. Second thing, that is to learn the biodiversity, is to classify them. As I already told you the example of a classroom. So here, grouping of organisms into categories. How you will group them? Based on easily observable characters which you can identify and which are similar. And in the classification, we use certain scientific terms which are called the units of classification, are called taxons. Each and every one, every level is called as a taxon. And the science which deals with the classification of organisms on the basis of common characters or shared characters is called taxonomy. And who is the man behind this is Corliss Linnaeus, is regarded as the father of taxonomy. And in the classification process, he used certain very important basics. So what are the process of taxonomy? Means it undergoes, number one, characterization, identifying various characters of the plant, listing out various characters of a plant or animal. That is what is called characterization. Second point is identification. That is, on finding the plant, you have to recall the name and naming it. Third, from the observable characters, you are grouping it. That is classification. And fourth, you are giving a nomenclature as per binomial nomenclature. So after nomenclature and classification, what you have to do is you have to arrange them in a systematic way. How? First you have classified your people according to your age, first standard, second standard, third standard, and you are arranging them. The order is there, no? Can I ask the first standard child to be the highest class in the school? Which is the highest class in the school? 12th is the highest class. So on the basis of the age, we are systematically grouping you people. So those who are in 5-year will be the beginners, the first standard students. Likewise, it goes up to 12th standard. In the same way here, after classification, we will study the differences in them, in the living organisms, their evolution, the past and the present, and the relationship among one living organism with another living organism. That is the group. We said man evolved from monkeys. So there is some close relationship from monkeys and man. So these two groups has to be kept close together. In the same way, the organisms or the taxons are arranged in a proper manner. This is what is called systematics. And Linnaeus used the method called Systema Naturae. It is a book published by Linnaeus where he has tried to arrange the different classes of animals or different groups of animals and plants, so that it can be asked in one word. The book published by Linnaeus. Linus is a scientist. So system of classification involves certain hierarchy of steps where each steps can be represent a rank or a category. So it is based on hierarchy as you are classified into different classes. And what is the category called? Primary, middle school, high school, higher secondary. Same way here we have the hierarchy of classification. Each level in the hierarchy represent an increase in the organizational complexity. So how you are systematically arranging the organism on the basis of their complexity. The simple unicellular organism, they are kept in the lower category. As they move up, you can see multicellular and complicated organism, and who is at the top of the system in the systematic position. Who is having the highest systematic position? Human being. So he is the highly complex organism. So he has kept the topmost priority. So now we will move on to the categories. The lowermost category of classification is the species. So it consists of group of individuals which have similar characters, and the very important point here is they can interbreed among themselves. So that group is called the smallest group, that is called species. They have large number of similar characters. Example is given here. Mangifera indica, that is indica is a species here. Solanum tuberosum, potato. Panthera leo, lion. These are some examples of species. The next higher level is genus. So many small species having similar characters are grouped together as genus. This you can say example as if first standard one class can have only 30 students. If there are 120 students, what we will do? We will divide them into 4 sections. First A, first B, first C, first standard, D section. So all these first standard A to D, they have similar syllabus, similar age group, similar behavior. So they are called species. Now, among all this, if they have some other similarity, they can be grouped into a genus. The boys of the class, the girls of all the first standard. Like that, you can pick out similarities and you can group them. Thus, you come the second category, genus. Example, I can say the potato, tomato, brinjal. All the 3 vegetables, they belong to different species, but all of them are under one genus called Solanum. If you see their botanical name, you can understand. One is Solanum tuberosum, one is Solanum torvum, and like that. So the first term Solanum refers to the genus name. So they all belong to the similar genus even though their species are different. See here for lion it is given Panthera leo is lion, Panthera pardus is the leopard, and Panthera tigris is tiger. So all these belong to different species, but commonly all of these they are having some similarity among themselves. So they all together is called the Panthera genus. As how first A children, first B, first C, first D children, even though they belong to A, B, C, D different species, when they come together they are called as first standard. That is, the first standard is the genus name. So all the animals which are called by the genus name Panthera will have some similarity with some other genus For example, the genus Felis, they look somewhat similar to Panthera genus. So these two genus, the Panthera and Felis, they are brought together under a same name called a family. So family is the third higher level in taxonomical categorization. If you take case of a plant, same way Solanum, another genus Petunia, and the third genus Datura. All these have some characters very common and they are grouped into a family called Solanaceae. See, the first standard is there, second standard is there, third standard is there, fourth standard is there. All these children, they have something in common. They are all children, isn't it? So on that basis, you are grouping them under a common family. What is the common family there? Primary section. So this is one example I am telling you. It is not a part of taxonomy, but just telling you. So same way, we had small groups, the species, then these small groups, similar organisms grouped as genus, and many such similar genus are grouped into the family. Now again we are moving into some bigger group of classification, that is the order. So now families are there, many families which are common in some characters, they are grouped into an order. In a small example we can say some people will have a family name behind their name. They used to write Acharya, like that, some particular name. So all Acharyas, if you club them, they may be different family. They may not be even close relatives, but they have the common family name. Such people can be grouped together into one. We say that they all belong to that particular caste or particular community. The same way here, group of families having similar characters are grouped under order. Examples here are some plant families, Convolvulaceae, Solanaceae, both are having something common. Their flower design is somewhat similar, so they are called as polymonials. In coming to animal, we said the Felidae and the Considae, the two families, they come under the order Carnivora. Next is the very big category which is made of one or more related orders. So they have similar correlated characters, then you call them as a class. For an example, I can say the Mammalia class. Class of Mammalia. Mammalia means all the animals which takes care of the young ones and feed the young ones are called mammals. Okay. So, and if you just go into that, you can see it has number of orders like Carnivora, Rodentia, Primata, Insectivora, etc. So, such a big category is called the class. Very closely related classes is called phylum. In plant kingdom, we don't use the term phylum. Instead, we use the term division. Many classes together form division in plant kingdom. Coming to animal kingdom, we use the term phylum. We know that all the animals with a backbone is grouped under the phylum Chordata. So phylum Chordata means it has a wide range of classes like pisces, amphibia, reptilia, aves and mammalia. So phylum Chordata with 5 classes. So like that, for every phylum there will be many organisms under that particular phylum. Kingdom. Kingdom. A group of all related phyla is called the kingdom. So in nature, we have 2 kingdoms. All the living organisms are classified into 2 kingdoms. The plants are put into plant kingdom and all the animals are put into animal kingdom. So it comprises of all the plants, starting from the unicellular plant to the higher, bigger plants. Same way from small organisms, zooplanktons, to the biggest man comes under animal kingdom. This is the flow chart which clearly shows the hierarchy. The hierarchy moves from base to the top. You can see the bottommost is species, the smallest group. Many species together form the genus. Many genus together form family. Many family together form order. Many order together form a class. And many classes in plant kingdom forms division, and in animal kingdom phylum, and many divisions and phyla together constitute the kingdom. So this is often asked in the question paper. Show the hierarchy of taxonomy or taxonomical hierarchy. So then you have to write like this. Okay. To remember this, there is a small formula I can tell you. It is KPC of GS. This is the formula. KPC. K stands for kingdom, P for phylum or division, C for class, O for order, F for family, G for genus, S for species. So if you remember this formula, automatically all these categories will come into your mind. KPC of GS. This table shows the systematic position of some of the organisms. You see, for man, the nomenclature, biological naming is Homo sapien, and his genus is Homo, his species is sapien, and many such homos together form the family Hominidae, and he comes under the order primate, class chordate, and the phylum is Mammalia. Same way for housefly, and in a plants, see for wheat it is Triticum, aestivum it's binomial, genus Triticum, family Poaceae, order Poales, class Monocotyledonnae, phylum Angiospermae. Then what kingdom they will be? Plant kingdom. So this is the systematic position. So it's very important to know the systematic position of some of the species which you are learning. It's very important to know from genus to their division or phylum. So now what we are going to learn is about some taxonomical studies. How we are concluding that this particular animal or this particular plant belongs to this group or this species. How we are doing this. For that we use certain model organism. That is, model organism means organism which is already discovered and it has been named and it is kept as a preserving material to help in identifying other organism. So this type of certain aids we use. Aids means something which help us to identify. And in every species, scientists are trying to identify that thing. If you go to agriculture, forestry, industry, everywhere, even in medicine, to extract some medicines from the plants, they should know the names of the plants, where the availability, etc. So for that, everything, the aids are very much useful. So these taxonomical aids help us to identify, name and classifying the particular organism. Now let us see what are the various taxonomical aids that are available. You don't worry about the word aids. Here aids means certain helping material. Number one is herbarium. Okay, herbarium is, in two sense you can use the word herbarium. One is, it is a place where many plant specimens are stored. Okay, the place where many plant specimens are stored. Secondly, the sheet of paper where you have dried, pressed and preserved a particular plant, that particular sheet is also called as a herbarium. And these sheets, if you go to a herbarium, that is a storehouse where all these are kept, if you go there, you can see the sheets of papers. They are not kept as such. They are arranged in a systematic manner, starting from the lower category to higher. So these sheets, they actually carry information about the place of collecting the particular plant, the date of collecting them, and the person who collected it, then the local name of the plant, then what is the scientific name, then their systematic position. All this will be there on the right hand side, bottom of the right hand side corner bottom of the herbarium sheets. So this will give you a very quick referral system. So the plant what you are having in your hand is similar to any one of the herbarial sheets. Very easily you can say, oh, this is this plant, and you can identify the plant. So thus herbarium plays a vital role in identifying the organism or a plant. The second taxonomical aid is botanical garden. Many of you would have visited the botanical garden in Ooty. Coimbatore also one botanical garden is there. So you have to go. If you have watched the botanical garden properly, you can see that there are a lot of plants are grown and it is displayed for the purpose of research and education. Big trees are there now. On the trees some names will be written. They are nothing but the botanical names. Then they are maintaining the greenhouses. So very special care is given to the endangered species. Endangered means the species which are going to die. Such a extinct, such a species are very taken care in that botanical gardens. Famous botanical gardens in India are in Calcutta, the Indian Botanical Garden, Calcutta, National Botanical Research Institute in Lucknow, and Garden of Medicinal Plants in North Bengal University, West Bengal. They are very famous botanical gardens. The third taxonomical aid is museum. Museum, everyone would have seen museum, where you can see collection of preserved plant and also animal species. Like it has some dead animal are preserved in formaldehyde and it is kept. Even in our biology lab, we have some preserved specimens, both plants and animals we are having. Like that, in a museum, you have a wide range which is arranged on the basis of this hierarchy, what you have studied, KFC of GS. In that manner, it would have been arranged. Insects are normally preserved in insect boxes. After collecting, after killing, it is pinned in the boxes. And large animals like birds and other things, it is not possible to put them inside a formaldehyde bottle. No, they are so big. So they will be stuffed and preserved. The fourth taxonomical aid is the zoological parks. Like botanical garden, it is zoological park. Vandalur Zoo is an example of zoological park. In Trivandrum Zoo, it's also a big zoo is there. So in zoological park, the wild animals are protected under their own natural habitat. We provide the situations which are favorable for them to live there on, and we also feed them. And if you go visit a zoological park, you can learn the behavior and the food habits of the animal. The fifth taxonomical aid is key. Key means it's not a key to open your lock. It is some characters. For example, if you have two plants in your hand, for you they look similar. Okay, then you can take some characters like flower color. That is one key. The flower color, one is yellow, if another one is green, you note down. Then the shape of the petal, that is the second key point. In the same way, if you are taking some animals, the design of the nose, the design of the beak. In that way, you will take each and every character separately, and for each and every character there should be only two response, only two, that is yes or no pattern. If you say the nose, we have only two, blunt nose, sharp nose. So the two answer, contrasting answers will be there for every key. So accordingly, if they are similar, you will put them into same category. If they are dissimilar, we will classify them into two different category. So thus key is very important to classify any organism according to the taxonomical categories. Other taxonomical aids. We have seen some 5 very important aids which we are often using. In addition to them, nowadays there are many flora. Flora means knowledge bank about the flower or plant, manuals, monographs, catalogs. It's available. They all help in correct identification. And even now we have databases. Now you are living in the world of computers where you have databases. The databases provides many number of keys which I have shown you a little before. On that basis it's very easy to classify. So instead of turning the pages of books, manuals and gambles, in olden days when we are students, we used to classify the plants on the basis of the very big book called gambles. We have different books for different category, like monocotyledonate one book, dicotyledonate one book. In that way, we used to identify plants based on the similar characters which are listed in the gamble book. So these computer databases and data banks are there, so which is giving knowledge up to the chromosome level. Even if your visible characters, if you are unable to classify them, then you can go into deeper into the chromosomal characters and you can find if they are similar, you can place them in the same group, etc. So all what we have studied today is about the living organisms, the differences between living, non-living, unique characters of living, and various types of living organism. They are numerous, and as a result it forms a biodiversity. As it is not possible to study the biodiversity as one, we are following certain method of classification and naming. So for that details you have studied in your first chapter, and this is your first class. So what I expect you people to do is go through the presentation, note down important points and definitions, and today by afternoon I will be posting the worksheets. So first study all these 30 slides what I have presented here. Take out the important points and be ready to answer your worksheet. And as a class teacher, I expect you people to be very regular to the classes. Whatever be the work given by the subject teachers has to be done then and there. No question of excuses. It is only an online class. Sit at home. Conveniently, you go through the lessons posted by them. Study them, answer. Now you are in the higher secondary classes. And don't expect another corona will come and it will push you to 12th standard. Don't expect like that. Study, improve your quality, because 12th standard and 11th standard are the basics for your future life. Okay. Thank you, children.